I don't know a good goddamn about Anthony Mackie, his talent, but all I've known from the reviews and all of the write-ups on him from people that I trust and sources that I like, a Marvel star is a little bit of a fucking reach unless you're addressing the one that's on his chest, because he's Captain America now because reasons. But he's been going through some troubles recently by just having some pretty basic takes on saying, hey, listen, I was in a show with a guy and we don't necessarily have to be gay in order to tell a story. He ran afoul of the woke Twitter crowd, so all of those dozen blue-haired land whales had their fucking shipping fantasies dashed for a day, and then he made a bunch of retarded statements in order to fess up to his perceived crimes, and this one's kind of at the forefront of that. And again, like I mentioned, I'd checked out of modern media a long fucking time ago, coming up on a decade at this point, really, which is kind of fucking weird to think about, and I don't miss it for a second. It's mostly because everybody who's at the forefront, people who are still making movies, they're just old people running on the laurels of what they've accomplished in the past. Like Robert De Niro is still magically making movies, but the last one that he did that was any good, it's probably Casino. I got the steelbook of it over there, and I got Godfather right across, or not Godfather, Goodfellas right across from it, and I got The Godfather Part 2 just below it, okay? He's still running on that reputation of being good decades ago at this point, fucking 30 years for both Casino and Goodfellas at this point. Christ almighty. What, Robert Downey Jr. isn't going to be doing Iron Man anymore, so what's the point of hanging on to that? And Iron Man 3 made me stop watching movies, full stop. Fuck that movie. And then what? You have these uncharismatic replacements? Like, I don't know what Mackie does. The only thing that I've heard that he's done all right is, what, the first season of Altered Carbon? I don't know anything about it. I heard that show was good for one season and it was shit, and he was still there, and he was good in the first season, and then he was bad in the second season. So if there were actually charismatic, good actors out there that could draw, like Eddie Murphy in the 80s, and then his knockoff, his botched clone Will Smith in the 90s, maybe there'd be a reason to go back to the theaters, okay? But there isn't, and if I want to watch a movie, it'll be from 1990 or earlier. Because you have your stupid actors at this point. Maybe they were always this disconnected from reality. We were just saved their opinions on a daily basis from the likes of Twitter or self-indulgent Instagram posts, and we didn't know what they were thinking 24/7. Like this: America keeps black men from seeing their potential, says multi-million-dollar actor with marginal talent. Hey, Anthony Mackie, star of Disney's The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which has another season, I think, coming out, or he's Captain America now, so who gives a fuck? Says taking on the role of Captain America was humbling but difficult because America prevents black men from succeeding, as he says from the main stage at Comic-Con, holding Captain America's shield. I've worked so long in this business. Have you really? I've done so many things that I felt were not appreciated or overlooked. Oh, imagine that. You had to grind in order to succeed. That's why there's just about 1,000 videos on this fucking channel. Imagine that. You got to put in the work, and maybe nobody sees anything that you're doing, but eventually you'll get your break. Or maybe you won't. Who knows? But no. It's all racism, right? Or things that were not considered to be worthy of promotion. Yeah, like a differing opinion. And this was like my first promotion. Even though you talk to people or you listen to people who actually, know the source material of the people that you pretend to be on screen, like Falcon is his own character. And then you got the mantle to be Captain America. And you think that just because that's a bigger name, that's somehow an improvement. That's the first time that you're going to get recognized. And that's why you had a show named after your character. Okay. The Hurt Locker actor. I seen that movie. I barely remember that Jeremy Renner was in it. I don't know anybody else who was in it. Was it even Jeremy Renner, who was the fucking guy in the big fucking Marshmallow Man suit? Overrated movie if I've ever seen one. Fucking trash. He's not frustrated that he thinks he has been overlooked. Mackie feels it is a societal problem for all black men in America. Really, bro? Ask good black actors like Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman. Ask ones that don't have to glob onto already established characters in an already moving bus in order to raise your profile enough where you can make these idiotic statements and people pick them up. There's a Hurt Locker, what was that, 2009, 2010-ish? I don't remember you. Nobody remembers you in that performance. Nobody speaks glowingly about your acting talent other than the fact that you're just shitting on Americans and you're just making the most elitist takes you can possibly think of. In a very woke Disney series, Mackie's Sam Wilson frets about taking the mantle of Captain America left to him when Steve Rogers gave up his shield in the last Avengers movie in 2019, Avengers Endgame. I've heard about that. Like I said, I haven't seen it. I hear Infinity War's good, and then Endgame's a total fucking mess, and the way that that goes down, I'd be interested in seeing, but, you know, he doesn't have super serum running through his veins. He is not the same as Captain America, and he was just handpicked, even though the guy who is also in the title of the show, the Winter Soldier, yeah, the redemption arc there would have been a whole hell of a lot better, but hey, you know what? You got tokenized because Disney's in charge. It's not the worst affront that they've made, but they're really picky and choosy when it comes to getting rid of certain characters, okay? Chris Evans, former Captain America, total lefty, but apparently he did a decent job as being Captain America. I watched the first one. I hear people like the Winter Soldier a whole hell of a lot, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and the second film in their trifecta. And then Civil War is apparently great and one of the best ones that's out there. Again, I don't have first-hand knowledge. I'm just going on what I hear by people I respect. But yeah, for all accounts, it just looks like the MCU, and really Disney in general's on this crusade of getting rid of white people. Let's just be frank and honest about this, okay? Captain America replaced by Falcon. I know that it's comic accurate. Oh, it's in the comics. That makes it better. Sure, bro. And use that same logical leap to figure out why exactly, if you're going to be loyal to the source material for one thing, and then you look at the other side, an old German folktale being adapted to be played out by somebody who's half Colombian. You know why Snow White's called Snow White? Because her skin's as white as snow, okay? You could dig back into the source material and you hear weird things about what the fuck the dwarfs were on about, but it's Disney. They're going to be adapting their version, the 1932 version? I forget exactly. With some relative unknown, actually complete unknown. Rachel Zelger to star in Disney's live-action Snow White remake, because all of those have been such a rip-roaring success. Up-and-coming actress Rachel Zelger is set to star in Disney's live-action remake of the classic animated fairy tale Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It is the second leading role for Ziegler, 20, who stars as Maria in Steven Spielberg's upcoming West Side Story. Okay, so she hasn't even been hasn't proved her leading role chops, but she gets the titular role in one of the most beloved cartoons of all time. Okay. This has worked out before, right? I can't necessarily cite the source, but relative unknowns can rise from anonymity and give a blistering performance, even though we haven't seen anything like that come out of anything recently from Disney, especially when it comes to their writers who have absolutely zero credits and then go on to write shit. Okay. Following a string of Disney live-action remakes, including this year's Emma Stone starring Cruella, which bombed at the box office, obviously, 2020's Mulan, which we will get to after we're done with this one, because there's something a little bit weird you should know about Disney's casting choices, and the horrific Lion King remake in 2019. Oh, but the animation was good. Shut up. Disney's plans to expand the timeless story of an orphaned princess who falls ill after eating a poisonous apple. Just in case you haven't heard something that is almost 100 years old. Ziegler's, and it even dates back to like the 1812 when it was first published in the Brothers Grimm. Like it says here, like, once again, I don't like to use Wikipedia, and sorry it's a little bit zoomed in, but I'll just read this. It's the top line, and again, everything will be linked in the description, but just for ease of understanding, Snow White is a German fairy tale known across much of Europe and is today one of the most famous fairy tales worldwide. The Brothers Grimm published it in 1812 in the first edition of their collection, Grimm's Fairy Tales. It was titled in German Schneewitten and numbered as Tale 53. The Grimms completed their final version of the story in 1854. It has generally been regarded as purely a tale of fiction. However, the recent research suggests the story might have been inspired from a real story. But you know who it always involved? Somebody whose skin was as fair as snow. And listen, this is something that we talked about not that long ago, okay? If you're going to make adaptations about stories and you want to make some changes to a character, that's fine, as long as they're not central to the character itself. What is Disney doing in this one? Something that is central to the character. is being changed. You're just trying to use the name. You're just trying to use the IP. It was about the Velma thingy or whatever. Mindy Kaling's vanity project. She's just going to try to take the Scooby-Doo name, not address any of the Scooby-Doo problems. All she wants is just the Velma name because this shitty little pilot couldn't get off the fucking ground. So she's going to attach her name to something that's already rolling, something that's been established for a long time, and then run it into the ground after people realize that, hey, this isn't exactly what I signed up for. And this is going to be another one of those instances. Listen, prior to the shutdown, all of these Disney movies, all of these live action remakes, including Aladdin, which they didn't mention here, The Lion King, The Jungle Book, all of those ones, they made blockbusters amounts of money. I think Lion King crested $1 billion. And at the same time, shit movies like Captain Marvel also made $1 billion. Mostly because people remember things. You remember that? Remember when things used to be good? You remember when original ideas used to be out there? Yeah, me too. That's 3 decades ago at this point. We haven't had anything original in the longest amount of time. The best original story that I can think of that's the most recent, maybe Gladiator? Maybe? Everything else is just an adaptation or a remake at this point. But again, just somebody else that doesn't really have to work that hard for stuff. Siegler got her start in Hollywood after auditioning at a 2018 open casting call for West Side Story, which will appear in theaters December 10th. I'm sure it'll be great. She's also recently cast in DC superhero sequel Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Erin Crescenda Wilson, the girl on the train, I don't know, will write the princess screenplay, and production is expected to begin sometime next year. Cool, so I guess she's got a lot of talent, just one of those under the radar, just deadly talents that'll be, finally given the proper admiration that she's always deserved. But no, actually, she's just an entitled cunt. The young actress responded to the negativity about her casting, about, hey, listen, I'm sure you're great, and I'm sure you're going to do wonderful things in Shazam, in West Side Story. Cool. More unoriginal products. Great. Yes, I am Snow White and I'm not bleaching my skin for the role, she wrote on Twitter, and was so strong in her conviction, she deleted her tweet. Of course, because that's what all of these idiots do. Several of the objections on social media referred to the premise of the German fairy tale, which has described Snow White as having skin as white as snow. But, you know what? Hey, if they're just going to go ahead and take the mantle, which is a garbage fucking term, which is just raping an IP for its name and, putting in your own fucking story, which I'd imagine this is exactly what this is going to be. And if you're going to do that, just, make your own story, do something original. But it would be woke garbage, okay? It would be something that these fucking white knights, user Norhal, meanwhile, gave the solution to others who were upset by Disney's choice. Here, there are more Snow White versions if the one with a Latina actress doesn't suit you, plus a classical one animated. You are fundamentally changing a story. How are you going to justify this? Okay, are you just going to bring up the name and then not mention it? Because that's not a real name. That's not something that you could be like, oh, okay, what's this lady's name? Her name is Snow White. That's a weird name. No, tell me her real name. She's of German descent. What's her real fucking name? In all honesty, this probably isn't made for me or people who look like me. This is just to placate those white knights and those idiot Twitter activists who aren't going to go see the film. No. They're by what? Next year, they're still going to be scared to go out in public. So they're just going to end up pirating this shit anyways and not paying you for fucking the privilege of destroying another fantasy tale, a modern day myth, one of the founding stories of all time, all in the sake of diversity and for the 2% that are on Twitter and really shouldn't be thought of. But that's where all of these marketing companies come up with these ideas. Oh no, we need to make sure, because if we don't go woke, we will go broke. That's what they teach you in marketing school, I guess. It's one of those cries to, we have to appeal to more people, because if we aren't diverse, we're leaving money on the table, because, all of those old stories that make these types of stories possible weren't popular for the previous, 150 years of cinema prior to the last last decade of just absolute dog shit that's been coming out of Hollywood. No, those aren't powerful, those aren't impactful. Grown-ass men and women with their revisionist history of, I really seen myself in this character of the movie that I watched when I was little, or I would stay up and I'd watch this one movie on repeat because I really seen myself and I'll justify it any way I possibly can because I was going through tough stuff at the time. Everybody did. If you justify that, I really seen myself in that character and we need to let more people in on that experience as well, you're lying to yourself. Okay? Newsflash. Minorities used to like movies too. I know it's fucking weird, right? White people don't just watch white people movies, whatever that means. Just like black people don't just watch black people movies, whatever that means. But to just wrap this up, yeah, this is just Disney trying to placate those fucking idiots that are out there. The mentally retarded seals that'll just consume product and then get excited to consume next product. Because, yeah, we brought up a couple of the other live-action remakes that are out there. Okay, everybody else went through a fucking shift in casting. Okay, Jungle Book and Lion King, those were, you know, animated movies about animals. It's really tough to change anything that's there. But then you got what? Aladdin. Okay, you couldn't really cast Robin Williams because Nanus. And that was the only prominent white guy that was in there. So yeah, you got Will Smith's haggard ass to play the genie. Okay, is anybody still talking about that live action remake outside of the context that, oh my god, that was fucking cringe? No, not really. And then what was the other one? The big disaster that was Mulan. Nobody liked the movie, but at the same time, you kept everybody racially correct, right? Like the star of the show, Mulan herself, straight out of Wuhan. Yep, you keep that one straight. Why wasn't she half Latina? Why wasn't she a black, maybe lesbian? Why you gotta be so racist, Disney? Why do the Asians have to be accurate? What makes them an elevated class? Alright, you were trying to placate China, but then that ended up backfiring and Mulan never went to cinemas. Sucks to suck, I guess. If you're gonna use the name of the source material, be faithful to the source material. It's like with comics, okay? If you're going to draw from the inspiration of those, yes, there are multiple different storylines for all of these characters that have long since been established for 50, 60, 70 years at this point. But don't just take some from one run and something from another run, because then writing-wise, it's inconsistent. It doesn't fucking work. Otherwise, do all your goofy casting, write all your goofy storylines, and just make it something different. But then at the same time, you guys own all of these properties, and if you want to run it into the ground at an expedited pace, cool, perfect, because I'll be waiting still for something decent to pop out of Hollywood. You guys have all the talent, you got all the money, so eventually, you know what, just fucking waste it all on all of these vanity projects for idiots, and your audience will be waiting for you to make a grand return, a renaissance of sorts. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.